HOI4 Death Diary, supply in Mulberry Harbors. What the fuck is Mulberry Harbor? Okay. Oh, what the fuck? That looks like a synthwave. What the fuck? Supply flow. Oh. Joe Biden. Sorry. And Mulberry Harbor is a floating harbor. Greetings all and welcome to today's Death Diary on the huge supply system update coming with the Barbarossa update. Before we begin, I'll leave a heads up that this will be the last Death Diary before we have a summer break. Until new... So don't expect anything until August. Or that means no DLC until August. That means no DLC. So if I come back from vacation, there's no HOI4 Death Diary. But I have a big plan when Tommy returns on the 20th of July after his big vacation. I have a big first stream planned. You're gonna love it. It's the best thing I can come up with. I think it's gonna be sick. I have some epic content planned when I come back as a return stream. I think you guys are gonna like it, man. I think so. Since we last talked about supply, a few things have changed. We found that the way truck need could take off and spike was hard to deal with, and watching out so you didn't overload individual supply hubs was a bit too intensive. We also felt that the way the map mode worked made it very difficult to project how well supply was flowing. How did you guys find out that my big return stream is going to be magic? How did you know that? The iteration we have now aims at addressing these shortcomings. It's now possible for divisions to supply from multiple hubs. Trucks are now less of a strict necessity, rather something you can assign to hubs to make sure they can project supplies further. Finally, the map mode has changed to better show. I mean, the map mode looks good. I just hope this is easy to understand. I'm a bit scared. It's gonna be so interesting, man. I'm so ready, man. The big magic comeback, man. Are you guys excited for some magic? I just got 2,000 followers in 2 days. It's so awkward to me. I'm just sitting here playing Vermintide for 1k viewers and I get 2,000 followers in 2 days. Like, why? Where's that coming from? Maybe it's because I was close to 200,000 and people are like, oh, this is my time. Supply flow. From each hub connected back to the capital, potential supply is projected outwards, adding up when overlapping. This is represented by the brighter colors below for each province and distance that supply needs to travel from a hub. There is a reduction in the amount and some is lost. As some is lost. I'm really bad at reading today, huh? The amount depends on various factors like terrain, crossing rivers, etc. The dark purple areas below are reduced to local supply only. And the highlighted red-orange areas indicate locations where there are units suffering from supply issues. So one of the main questions is going to be, how do you supply Russia? How do you go to Russia with supply as a German? And how do you go against China as a Japan? This is going to be very interesting. Thank you, Protis and Oscar. Thank you guys very much. Looks cool, man. Looks very synthwavy. This is Hearts of Fire 4 Blood Dragon. You understand that meme? In the picture above, the Ukraine Caucasus front is mainly struggling because it's overextending before the captured rails have been converted. So a lot of the rail network there is not operating. That brings so much depth to the game. You have two decisions. Do you want to rush someone down with Blitzkrieg, but fuck your supply, or do you want to attack someone slow and convert your railroads, making sure supply is good? Very interesting decision. Very interesting. When a railway is taken over, there's a longer cooldown when it gets converted for use by you, representing a combination of repair damage, gauge alteration, and general maintenance. And without connected hubs, supply won't flow. How much you can alter from each hub depends on the level of railways leading back to the supply capital, and the total max there depends on your industrial base. Luxembourg cannot feed as many as Soviet Union, for example. What is, man? No problem, man. Looks to me this might even more of a waiting game for offensive. It sounds a bit like if you want to blitzkrieg something, if you want to be a rush guy, like German tanks rushing Russia, you have to prepare that well with good railways and shit. You can still snake, you just have to really plan it well. Motorization. To increase the range of a hub, perhaps to help supply in to the front, you can choose to improve the motorization level. Look at the 5-6 buttons, chat. What is that? The horse icon on the right indicates no motorized supply from the node, but you can opt to toggle it to a higher state. Motorization, be careful, this will cost you trucks. So let's be honest, what's gonna be the meta? You have to build a shit ton of supply trucks so you supply the whole world easily. So people will put a lot of builds on supply trucks, let's be real. Thank you. Wow, bro, that was really edgy. Inge! Der geht hier übers rote Kabel, ne? Never mind. There are also, what's wrong with me today? Jesus. There are also some other options on a hub. The star icon lets you move supply capital to a new location, provided that you have sufficient surrender progress. Ah, you always go deeper. This lets you get around issues where your capital ends up cut off or surrounded, but also comes with a period. The meta is also going to be much more about encircling and deep infiltration tactics. If you fight someone in multiplayer and you manage somehow, I don't know, naval invasions, blitzkrieg, or paratroopers, to cut him off from his supply nodes, aka his railways, you completely fuck him up, man. This makes it far more. I love this so far. This makes it so much more interesting and attractive to use special forces more and do cool stuff behind the enemy lines. There are also other options, blah blah blah. The blue flag next to it lets you control allied access to the node. This can be a great way to flag to an AI that you do not want them on your front. Oh, nice. The rail icon lets you quickly switch to construction mode and extends rails from there, while the green plus will automatically queue up construction for rails, blah 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 blah. Floating harbors. Was? Ja, ich habe Kopfhörer auf. Ja, ich habe nur gesagt, der geht hier übers rote Kabel gleich. Die scheiß Maschinen, die können schon Tür aufmachen, Alter. Paratroopers will be more effective. You should have garrisons on railroads. That makes sense. And I like that, it's realistic. I love that. I love when it gets more realistic. You need to keep some 20 whiffs behind so nobody fucks you up, man, with that shit, right? As part of No Step Back, we're introducing a new dimension to naval invasions. Floating or Mulberry harbors can now be constructed once the appropriate research has been completed. These weighty and expensive pieces of infrastructure. Holy crap, that's so cool. Wait, no! You can now naval weight everything and not have attrition? Oh no! Oh no, that's the end of multiplayer. Oh, that's the end of multiplayer. Oh no. These weighty and expensive pieces of infrastructure. Don't look too close at the numbers above. Hey, hey. Aren't intended for everyday landings, but are instead intended to represent the equipment used in large operations such as the Battle of Normandy. My brain already says, look, multiplayer is all about memeing people, right? Multiplayer is, I want to meme you. For example, you're UK, you're USA, they want to invade you, man, okay? TommyKay, I want to invade you. Now, what you normally do is you just protect your ports. Hey, I have 50, I have 520 wits on my port, come and get some. Now, if they do it right, they can invade everything I own if they have the floating harbor and they have no attrition. Ooh. On the other side, though, this helps the meta. As I always say, I think the meta is broken about D-Day. In a multiplayer game where everybody plays good, it's almost impossible to D-Day, in my opinion. Because German tanks, any tank will just push you out. Giving the Allies the option to land everywhere in France now, this could be a curse or a blessing. Ooh, you think it's late game tech? I don't know, man. And the multiplayer, they know how to rush stuff, man. Mulberry supply will be less, though. It's gotta be very interesting. I think they're way too expensive. How are they expensive? One dockyard for one steel? How's that expensive? It's nothing. Production cost matters, but one dockyard is one steel, that's nothing. Depends on production cost. That could be very scary, man. Naval invasions utilizing floating harbor will be resembled by a harbor apparatus, blah 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 blah. Used. Oh, here. Oh, we have the. Oh, cool. We have the picture, man. Wow. Oh, damn. Used carefully, one or more Mulberry harbors can keep a sizable invading force supplied without requiring the immediate capture of a harbor. That's big. That is big, man. Of course, harbors should remain amongst the first targets of any invasion, and the supply hubs created by a floating harbor will be only temporary. Again, in multiplayer, man, they kill you so quick. They find your opening so easily. If you didn't protect it, they don't need. Look, it's all about surrounding. Look, all the people in chat right now. It's 1943 tech. Where do you see that it's 1943 tech? Does it say that later? 1943 tech. Still, people will rush it easily, man. Easy, man. Easy. People know how to rush. Can you sink them? That's a good question. I just want to say, I know what this is gonna be used for in real life. People will use the shit to surround you like crazy, man. Even if it's just temporary, they will use this, they land, bam, surround you, man. Protecting yourself from naval agents is gonna be much harder now. Use carefully, one of Mulberry Harvest can keep a sail and reinforce supply, blah blah blah. Of course, there's yet more to cover regarding supply, and we'll do that after the summer. Oh, one last thing, this is the new loading screen. Looks good. I don't really get the picture so much. I mean, isn't this about supply in Russia? So is this like Polish cavalry? I don't understand the picture. Can someone explain it to me? You guys are all historical geniuses, right? Yeah, why not tanks? It's about tanks. It says, just read it. Oh, yeah. The vision behind the painting was to present a more historically accurate description of the chalk at Krosyanti. This was an engagement in the opening days of World War II, where the elite Polish cavalry surprised the German infantry unit at rest, charged before it could prepare for defense, and dispersed it. They later withdrew and faced with German armored cars. This battle is famous because it started the often officially repeated ahistorical view of Polish cavalry charging German tanks, and we wanted to try and make it more accurate. Interesting. Interesting. I would have chosen something with tanks because it's about tanks, but nice. I always like the pictures. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. I think that's all. I reacted to everything I wanted to react to. Nice opening here to the stream.